It is hard to imagine anything more un-American than that. The Trump administration's immigration policy is a threat to immigrants like criminals. America is too great to fall prey to Donald Trump's anti-immigrant agenda. We need to restore basic humanity to our immigration system, and that starts with repealing the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, with Our Neighbors Not Enemies Act. Together, we will end this xenophobic law once and for all.
Liberal mayors are fighting to keep illegal immigrants in their cities, citing that these undocumented individuals are safe in their care. Border czar Tom Homan, he shares an insane figure when it comes to these border crossings, and Democrats are going ballistic after Hakeem Jeffries fails them yet again. Now, I got all this and a whole lot more, guys, so let's go and get this show on the road, shall we? We've got far-left mayors who are adamant that illegal immigrants belong in their community, despite the mandate from the American people that voted for mass deportations. These are people that received tax-paid benefits like food, shelter, clothing, and even gadgets. Now, you might argue that there's enough taxpayer money to go around for everybody, right? But the fact of the matter is that we're not giving enough to help our own homeless, especially veterans who are being ignored and left out to fend for themselves. But listen to what Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey had to say about illegal immigrants. Watch.
And I want all of you just to know exactly where we are as far as our neighbors go. Minneapolis will continue to be a safe haven for undocumented immigrants, for our trans community. Regardless of who you are or where you come from, Minneapolis is a place where you should be proud to call home.
And yes, this is the same Mayor Frey that said that he won't cooperate with ICE, especially when it comes to the deportation of illegal immigrants and criminals.
I want to speak directly to people who are undocumented. We love you. We care about you. In the city of Minneapolis, we will stand up for you, and we will do anything in our power to help. Because you're not an alien in our city, you're a neighbor. Now, in Minneapolis, we have what is called a separation ordinance. And that separation ordinance states clearly that our city officials, our police officers and beyond, will not be gathering information showing who is and who is not documented. We do not ask the question with regard to immigration status, and because we haven't asked the question, we don't have any data to show documentation status in our city. Our police officers will not be cooperating with federal law enforcement around federal immigration law. We enforce state and local laws here in Minneapolis, and we will do so to the best of our ability. But as for cooperation with ICE,
until they can find their way back to a message like they had back in 2008, it's plausible that the party continues to collapse. Either that or they succeed with their plan to take down the Trump administration. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, listen to what Senator Chuck Schumer has to say regarding their plan against Republican officials.
We are mobilizing in New York. We have people going to the Republican districts and going after these Republicans who are voting for this and forcing them to either change their vote or face the consequences. This is a long, relentless fight that we fight every day. And I am confident that we will bring Trump's popularity, numbers, and strength down if we keep at it and keep at it and keep at it.
It seems as if they're telling their supporters to bully Republicans and to force them to change their vote or face the consequences. Sounds like a threat to me. I'm not sure what he means by that, but there's never been any good consequences when it's said in that manner. You know what I'm saying? Which leads me to ask you guys, what is Chuck Schumer alluding to here? Now, I want to switch gears for a second. I want to link you guys to a recent live stream that I did. I talked about the Doge dividend checks and how it's now been confirmed. These checks are sure to help millions once they arrive. Make sure you guys check that video out. As always, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.
The answer is no.
The insanity doesn't end there. By the way, guys, if you guys appreciate the daily updates, please take a second and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot of government officials who support this idea of his. Besides Representatives Ilhan, Omar, and AOC, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu also made her thoughts about this very public. In her State to the City address, Wu made it abundantly clear that they care more for illegal immigrants than they do for our own constituents.
We stand with immigrants. You belong here. Somos una ciudad de inmigrantes. Boston doesn't back down. We are a city where the Irish coffee is strong and our opinions are stronger. We may not always agree or see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, we are a family. If you come for one of us, you will get all of us. We are a city that knows our strength is each other, and we will defend the people we love with all that we've got. When the weight of the world presses down, Boston stands up. It is because of this community and the work we've done together that I was able to raise my right hand, swear an oath, and tell the nation the truth, that Boston is the greatest city on earth.
Now, I do want to point it out that it seems as if Mayor Wu is learning to speak Spanish, which doesn't align with what their own party said back in 2008. This was the Democratic Party back then with Hillary Clinton.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
Now, the argument is that they're now thinking about the human aspect of all of this, that we should have compassion. But the problem is that you're using resources that were meant for U.S. citizens, which in turn is stretching your budget to lengths that it can't even reach. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. And just like in Chicago, their mayor was forced to think of other ways to generate revenue. Or in other words, he wanted to pass the added expenses on the taxpayers. But that's not what the Trump administration wants. In fact, the president, he wants to do what he promised, and that's to protect our borders and to deport criminals out the country, something that they've been very successful at.
In 4 weeks, we arrested more criminal aliens in the interior United States than Joe Biden did in a year, first of all. Second of all, the border numbers right now are down 96%. 96% decline in 6 weeks. We did in 6 weeks what Joe Biden refused to do in 4 years. And what we needed, as the president articulated during the speech, all we needed was a new president who took border security seriously, and that's what we have in President Trump. 96% decline on border crossing. But here's the most important part, what I think is the most important part, gotaways. Under Joe Biden, we got 2.2 million people cross the border, weren't apprehended, weren't fingerprinted, weren't vetted. 2.2 million people came into this country, and we got them on video, drone traffic, sensor traffic. They weren't apprehended because Border Patrol was too busy changing diapers, making baby formula, taking care of the humanitarian crisis of people coming across that border by the millions. 2.2 million people cross the border. We don't know who they are, where they came from, why they're here. Gotaways by average were 1,800 a day under Joe Biden. 1,800 people a day crossed this border and weren't apprehended because Border Patrol was so overwhelmed. The gotaway number yesterday, 41. 41. 1,800 or 41. That means less people are entering this country than that we don't know who they are.
Now, obviously, guys, these far left mayors, they don't like what Tom Homan's saying here. But the fact is that this influx of people into the country, it's unsustainable. Late last year, we were made aware of the many public assistance programs that have provided billions of dollars to illegal aliens. It's been estimated that 2023 alone, federal expenditures for them cost almost $70 billion, with research stating that each illegal immigrant can receive around $332,000 in taxpayer-funded benefits over the course of their lifetime, of course. Now, the Trump administration made sure to answer the statements from mayors like Boston Mayor Wu.
In a press release, the Trump administration called the mayor a radical and cited examples of ICE arrests in Boston. It asks, why is Mayor Wu intent on defying the will of the American people and obstructing the Trump administration's efforts to remove these monsters from our streets?
She says Boston is for everyone. That's kind of her big slogan. But it seems like it's for that includes illegal immigrants who have committed heinous crimes.
Now, speaking of defending criminals, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries he's taking some advice from Senator Adam Schiff. Anybody like Adam Schiff in the audience here, guys? He's now doing this vlogger style video as he talks about the federal judge who wanted to bring back illegal immigrants into the country, individuals who are confirmed dangerous criminals. Which is really kind of strange. Shouldn't they be working together with the Trump administration to keep the United States citizens safe? But instead, they're fighting for people who aren't even supposed to be here in the first place.
In America, we don't have a king, we don't have a monarch, we don't have a dictator. In our democracy, we have separate and co-equal branches of government. We don't work for Donald Trump, we work for the American people. It is the Congress's responsibility and the court's responsibility to serve as a check and balance on an out-of-control executive branch. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the Trump administration are completely and totally out of control. In court case after court case after court case, Donald Trump is losing and the American people are winning. So now Donald Trump is threatening to impeach federal judges who disagree with his unconstitutional and unlawful executive orders. Here's the thing. House Democrats and Senate Democrats are going to make sure that Donald Trump does not successfully impeach a single federal judge. Not one.